So my thought process when I'm purchasing new gear is, yes, I've fallen into the gear vortex. Hey everybody, Melissa here. I was tagged by my friend Dan with Backpacking Adventures to do a video about how I choose my gear. This is definitely a rabbit hole that I'm gonna try very hard not to get sucked into because it has a lot of nuance to it. First of all, I personally have too much gear. I've fallen into the gear vortex, and hopefully if you listen to some of my video, maybe you can get some ideas on how not to do that and waste a ton of money on gear that isn't gonna work for you. So my thought process when I'm purchasing new gear is, yes, please get me more gear. So over the years, my thought process has changed and I've become pretty good at deciding what gear I'd like to bring on board for my kit that's going to work for me. There's a few considerations that I like to look at before getting something, and it's comfort, weight, durability, and compactness. So comfort, right? We all want to be comfortable while we're out there hiking and backpacking. If it's not comfortable, I'm not going to want to use it. I'm not going to want to wear it, whatever. If I'm not comfortable, I'm not going to enjoy my trip in the long run. I want to make sure that my backpack fits well. I want to make sure that my sleeping bag is the correct temperature for the trip that I'm going out. I want to make sure that my sleeping pad is going to work for me being a side sleeper. I want to make sure that when I'm sitting around camp that I'm comfortable. A lot of considerations there. The weight of something. Weight is a large consideration for me. It's also a function of the comfort as well. A lighter pack is going to make it easier for me to hike longer miles. Not an ultralight backpacker because honestly, I have found that to not be comfortable for me. Durability. Durability is also a function of weight. You can kind of see how all of these things are kind of intertwined. I've tried some ultralight packs in the past and the durability of those has just not worked out for me. I definitely prefer fabrics either on my sleeping pad or backpack, whatever, that are a little bit more durable, so I'm willing to carry a little bit more weight to get that durability, because I don't want to have to repair or replace gear all the time because that's really going to be expensive. I tend to be pretty tough on my gear, kind of throw things around, so I need gear that's going to tolerate a level of my abuse. My gear, I like to be as small and compact as possible. This can also be a function of its weight, but by having things that are as small as possible or as compact as possible, that means I can carry less weight and a smaller pack. I'm going to try and fit all my stuff in the smallest pack possible, because if I have, let's say, a 70-liter pack, I'm probably going to fill it with 70 liters full of crap, and there's going to be stuff in there that I just don't need. So small, compact, least amount of stuff. That's what's going to work for me. Now, doing research before you get gear is kind of what's key here. You really need to dig deep and decide what's important to me as a backpacker. What kind of backpacker am I? Am I a thru hiker or am I a weekend warrior? Do I do 1 week trips twice a year? What's going to work for you? How long do you want to keep your gear? Are you okay trading off the weight of something with the durability of something? These are all very personal choices. And it's personal to you. Just because I use a ULA pack doesn't mean ULA is going to work for you. So don't look at what other people have. Look at the features of what other people's gear has. Decide what's important for you as a backpacker. The best gear, not always the most expensive gear. The price of something doesn't always dictate the value of something or how good it is. So what do I consider when I'm packing for a trip with the gear that I have? I'm going to consider the weather and the season, the length of the trip that I'm going to be going on, what type of trip am I going on, and water sources. So the weather and season, that's definitely going to be the #1 consideration when I'm stuffing things into my backpack getting ready for a trip. This is going to dictate the type of gear that I bring, how many layers, what kind of quilt, what kind of sleeping pad, what type of water purification might I need, and how light of gear can I possibly get away with. So what type of trip I'm going to go on. So how many miles am I going to go in a day? Am I just out there leisurely going to hike a few miles and camp? Or am I going to get out there and need to clear 20 miles in a day? If I need to clear 20 miles in a day, I'm going to want to carry less gear than if it's more of a camping experience. So the length of the trip, am I going to be gone just an overnight, or am I going to be gone for 7 days? Am I going to be gone for 6 months? So the longer I'm going to be gone, the lighter and less gear I personally am going to want to bring with me. If I'm just going on an overnight, I can cart in 35 pounds worth of stuff and cart it back out because I'm not stressing myself too much. But as you go out in days, you're going to get exhausted, so you're going to want to carry less stuff. And finally, I consider the water sources. Water is super heavy to carry, and I want to know in advance what potential water sources are out there because I want to be able to bring the least amount. Hopefully just 1 liter will be fine with my filter. You got to look, you got to find out and do some research and find out if you're going to be in the desert or places that maybe you're up on a ridge and there's just no water available. You're going to have to carry more water. I hope that this has been a little helpful for you. It does tend to be a gear vortex. I have a lot of different gear that allows me to backpack in 4 seasons worth of weather. And I know that most people don't do that. My best advice, research gear, research. Decide what's important to you, and then get some gear that is flexible enough to cover the majority of seasons. Winter tends to be its own animal unless you really love winter. Most people aren't going to go out in those temperatures, or they just might go backpacking for the day. We'll leave that one alone for right now. This is an option for summer. Very tiny sleeping pad and tarp versus this for winter, right? So that's my gear philosophy, and it's how I choose my gear. Again, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions at all, you can drop them in the comments below. So since I did have to pack for a trip this weekend, and we are talking about how I choose my gear, we're just gonna go through super fast how I'm choosing my gear for this weekend. So the weather should be pretty good. Highs in the low 70s, lows in the 50s in the western Adirondacks. Might have some rain on Saturday. So that's my first consideration. We're gonna be gone for 3 days, 2 nights. The first day and the last day I think are pretty much half days. So 1 big day, but we're gonna base camp. And we're gonna base camp a few miles in. I am bringing my dog with me, since it might be a wet, muddy trail. That's also a consideration since she's going to be in a very small tent with me. We're not sure about the campsite selection. We don't believe that we're going to have a lot of space to pitch a tent. Water sources look plentiful. It looks like we're going to be passing lakes and streams. So we'll just run through this super fast. This does not encompass everything that we will be using. I have my ULA Circuit, Hilltop Packs large food bag. I might actually bring a bear canister. I've got my snap fold for the dog and myself. I'm bringing a towel to wipe off the dog since she might be muddy. I've got a small cook pot because that's all I need. I've got a small 2-person tent. This doubles as a stuff sack, but it also blows up my Neo Air X-Therm. I'm bringing my X-Therm because it's going to be chillier out and I want to make sure I'm warm. I've got some thermal base layers, a fleece cap, socks, wind pants, rain jacket instead of a wind jacket because it might rain, some rope for the dog. I've got my pillow. This is my electronics. That's my toiletry kit. Clearly this has some first aid. It also is my ditty bag. I've got my water filter. This is a shelf liner and I use it inside of the tent for the dog so that she doesn't destroy the bottom of the tent. She has her quilt, which is a lightweight synthetic quilt. It's about full size. And I will be using my 10-degree enlightened equipment quilt. So none of this includes any of my camera equipment or any of my food. Ooh, I forgot something that I'm gonna bring. I'm also gonna bring my Thermarest Trekker chair thing, so I have a comfortable place to sit. So of all the gear that I have, this is what I chose for this trip, and it does vary from trip to trip. So that's what I got for you today. Thank you for diving into this small gear vortex with me. So now it's my turn to tag 3 other channels to talk about their hashtag gear philosophy, how they choose their gear. So I will tag Gone Feral with Squidley, Backpacking with Buckley, and As the Crow Flies Hiking. I'd be super interested to hear what your gear philosophies are for sure. You're all very entertaining channels. Thank you. Have a great day. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.